Montreal's greatest flea market is actually located inside of a drive-in movie theater inside of St-Eustache. Now, this place is wild. I'm talking deals as far as the eyes can see. Also, a few knockoffs to be aware of, but let's take a look in today's Montreal Flea Market video. We are at the Marché Saint-Eustache, and I'm going to be showing you guys the best flea market, just a little bit outside of the city. Let's go. This place gets absolutely slammed on the weekends, and little life hack, bring some sunscreen, bring a hat, bring some glasses, and for the love of God, stay hydrated. If you live in Montreal, or you're visiting Montreal and you've never been to the Saint-Eustache Flea Market, you absolutely should. This place is open on the weekends and it's legendary. Easily one of the biggest flea markets around, with a massive indoor section packed and an outdoor section also packed. Overflowing with casual sellers, it's basically a giant treasure hunt. And the outdoors is just filled with a fresh fruit market, vegetable market, and you can even get wonderful flowers. Also, for the folks that do live in Montreal, if you do want to set up a tent yourself, it costs about 20 bucks on Fridays or 40 bucks on Saturdays and Sundays. You just roll up early, grab your spot, and start selling. But if you're just here to shop, you'll need some survival tips, specifically when it comes to knockoffs and counterfeits. There's a lot of replica gear here, mixed in with the real stuff, of course. If you see a hype streetwear brand, high-end shoes, Louis V's, I assure you, my friends, nobody is selling legitimate Louis Vuittons here. If those electronics look too good to be true for that price, well, it definitely is. Don't be scared to check the stitching, inspect the logos, and don't be afraid to walk away if the vibe feels off. Nobody likes a pushy vendor. Nobody likes a scumbag pushy vendor either. Oh, and real talk, you gotta come hungry. The food situation here is kind of elite. You can grab some classic fries, you can grab some Mather's breakfast, or just walk around, soak in the energy, and grab a croissant at one of the fresh bakeries located inside of this wonderful flea market. And speaking of the indoor section is a completely different beast compared to the chaotic garage sale energy outside. Think of it less like a flea market and more like a massive, budget-friendly indoor mall with a ton of character. Since these vendors are permanent and rent their spots all year round, they aren't just trying to clear out their basements. They're actual established specialty shops. If you're a nerd like me, the inside is where you want to be if you want to buy some video games that aren't sun damaged or too badly sun damaged, because these guys get the first pick of the litter, being there every single week. They collect a lot of gems and sell them for inexpensive. And surprisingly, the inside is also an absolute goldmine if you're looking for authentic older stuff. Pokemon cards, geek culture stuff, mix of practical everyday shops. There's multi-generational jewelry stores that have been doing their thing since the 80s, stores specializing in fixing phones, even a licensed piercing and tattoo studio will be found here. I usually just use the indoors to take a look at some of the comics, take a look at some of the toys that they have inside, and of course beat the heat, because it gets unbelievably hot at the Marché Saint-Eustache. You're in a gigantic sun-beaten parking lot, and going inside for some air conditioning is just wonderful. Oh, and one more thing. This place has an awesome arcade. It always brings me joy to come to an actual arcade that is filled with games. I haven't seen one of these snowboarder games in the longest time. They got Mario Kart GP for $1. Anywhere else you'd go, that thing's like $2 a game. $1 here. They got basketball, they got Darkstalkers, heck, they even have Rush Pinball if you wanted to. This is a pretty decent arcade. And you can get some ripping tattoos of llamas. I gotta say, this arcade is super well taken care of, and there's still a bunch of stuff from the 80s. Like this old school roller coaster simulator. They even have this old Batman ride that I remember riding when I was a small child here. There's also a ton of seating available. This place is available for birthday parties as well. Alright, I guess it's time to say goodbye to the arcade, and let's head outside and let's show you some of what you can find here at St-Eustache Flea Market. Even if I don't find anything, it's a nice walk. And I like looking at things. I like looking at old things. Old collectibles, old video games. You never know what you're gonna find at the flea market. Some of these vendors have been here for years, and some of them just pop up for a single weekend. Today is packed. For me, starting at the outskirts is kind of the way to go. These are some of the last vendors to set up. If you get here early enough before the resellers pop in, you'll usually get a good deal. You can find anything here. There's knife vendors, knife sharpeners, there's a bunch of toys and collectibles. If you're looking for dog toys, there's a whole kiosk just selling dog toys here. Like I said, do come early. That's kind of the tip, just because, you know, there are a ton of resellers that try to resell at different kiosks for more expensive, and they usually try to snipe vendors that are just setting up in the morning. And bring cash. Bring lots of cash and small bills only. A lot of these vendors don't have change. And you don't want to be that jerk paying with a $100 bill to buy a $5 plushie, do you? My first purchase of the day. I love him. $10. This was an absolute steal of a purchase for me. I love him. I love him so much. And there are some things at the flea market that I don't recommend you buy. They sell food here outside, not refrigerated, that probably should be refrigerated. Also boxers. Don't buy boxers here. El Suave especially, whatever material it's made out of. When I was a kid, just to save money, I would come out here just to buy underwear. I got ringworm from buying underwear here. I cleaned it, and I still got ringworm. Also, you can buy weapons here, which is crazy. You want some nunchucks or a damn sword, you can buy it here. This is where I bought my Randy Orton beach towel. Yeah, a few years back. I don't know what happened to that Randy Orton beach towel, but I had a Randy Orton beach towel. They also have some carnival games out here, and just a heads up, they're rigged. They're totally rigged. I could go on and just videotape all of the vendors here, and I probably will do like a long video someday if there's enough interest. But I love going through all of the old stacks of video games. A lot of these are like sun damaged, but the discs inside are totally fine. You can find a ton of old retro toys from the 80s, the 90s, and like you never know what you're gonna find at the flea market. And I love that it just changes every single week because there's always different vendors. Like this lady here who is selling her entire boyfriend's video game and wrestling tape collection and a bunch of figures for just so inexpensive. Everything on this table was like $2, $3. I mean, I would have picked up that Survivor Series tape or the Hell Yeah Stone Cold tape if I still had a VHS player. Got Gumby, you got Chewbacca. You got the lizard from Spider-Man.
The bad guy from He-Man.
Oh yeah. This is incredible. Aye. Hubba hubba.
How big is her
Hubba
foot?
hubba. A collector's heaven. Look at this. A bunch of sun-damaged N64 cards, but they're reasonably priced. There's a ton of sports games, but in between those sports games, you can find Tetris, Superman, Star Wars Pod Racer, Pokemon Stadium, Hydro Racer, WCW, NWO Revenge. Absolute peak N64 titles here. If it's a nice weekend out, I can't recommend this place enough. Please, come to the flea market. I had a terrific time at the flea market. And if you guys have a spare weekend, come out here. It's worth a trek. If not for the wonderful baked croissants, the false goods, just for the vibes. Just for the vibes. It's vibey. Thanks for watching. For more food, travel, gaming, and more, see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.